Okay, let's picture this. You step onto a Wall Street bond trading floor, maybe mid-'80s,
Right.
and the sources we looked at describe it as, well, a jungle, or maybe a casino.
Definitely chaotic.
Yeah, a place where the goal, the ultimate thing, was being a big swinging dick.
That phrase says a lot, doesn't it?
It really does. And trainees, sometimes treated like commodities, almost traded like slaves, is how Lewis puts it. Colleagues could feel like human piranhas.
A pretty intense welcome to high finance.
Exactly. That's the wild world of Michael Lewis's Liar's Poker, and that's what we're diving into today, looking at the sources you shared to get a feel for that time.
And it's classic Lewis, isn't it? The sources mention his other big books like Flash Boys, The Big Short, even Moneyball.
Yeah.
He finds the human story in complex systems.
He really does. Critics called Liar's Poker, what, a manic comic novel?
Yeah, and also good history and a good story. It gives this incredibly vivid view from someone who was actually there on the inside.
Perfect guide for us then. So digging into it, 3 big ideas sort of jump out from the sources. First, just the culture at Salomon Brothers.
Ah, yes. Very unique.
It was famously macho, built around this myth of the trader being almost like a savage.
Primal, yeah.
And the training program sounds nuts. Not just hard work, but intensely competitive, designed to break people almost.
Like that idea of trainees being treated like slaves early on, pitting them against each other.
And the hazing, the goofs, they called them.
Oh, yeah. Some wild stories there, like the Matty Oliva cheeseburger incident. Apparently, it somehow involved the big boss, Gutfreund, and even the SEC.
Seriously, over cheeseburgers.
That's the legend. Or
Right.
filling a guy's suitcase with wet paper towels. Just odd stuff.
But there was a point to it, sort of.
Well, the book suggests this strange belief that all this abuse led to some kind of enlightenment. Purged you of softness, I guess.
Wow, hazing as like a spiritual cleanse for Wall Street.
Pretty much. And yet, despite everyone obviously being there for the money,
Right, big money.
it was totally taboo to actually talk about money in the job interviews. That struck me as a real contradiction.
It really is. Fascinating. Okay, so that's the culture. The second big theme is the huge shift in the markets, specifically bonds.
Absolutely. Salomon dominated bonds in the 80s. Stocks were actually kind of less prestigious then, less profitable maybe.
And within Salomon, the real revolution seems to have come from an unlikely place, the mortgage department.
Yeah, initially seen as this sleepy backwater run by Lewie Ranieri and staffed with guys Lewis said sounded more like an infield. You know, former back office people, not typical finance pros.
So how did they change things?
They basically invented a new market. They figured out how to take all these individual home mortgages, which are messy and unpredictable.
Right, people pay them off early or default.
Exactly. And they packaged them into standardized bonds, created CMOs, collateralized mortgage obligations, sliced them up into different risk levels. They even carved out just the interest payments, IOs, or just the principal payments, POs, as separate securities. Lewis calls it New Age Creole, this complex blend.
Making mortgages investable for big players.
Precisely. Suddenly, pension funds, institutions that needed steady income, could buy into mortgages. And that department. It became unbelievably profitable, changed the power dynamics within the firm completely.
Huge innovation, huge impact. Which leads to the third idea, the kind of mindset, the philosophy of trading back then.
Yeah, it feels pretty raw. A core idea seems to be that knowing the market is really about knowing other people's weaknesses, finding the fool.
That Warren Buffett quote Lewis uses, right? If you don't spot the fool in the first half hour.
It's probably you.
Exactly.
It wasn't just about spreadsheets.
And you saw different styles.
Totally. You had guys like Dash Riprock focused on tiny, quick profits in government bonds. Nips for blips, he called it.
Scalping, almost.
Kind of. Then you had Alexander, more of a contrarian. He'd look for the second-order effects after some big event.
Like his Chernobyl trade.
That's the one. News breaks, disaster, everyone panics. He buys oil futures.
Why? Oil.
His thinking was, well, less nuclear power probably means more demand for oil down the line. It wasn't the obvious immediate reaction.
Takes nerve.
Absolutely.
Yeah.
And the book stresses it wasn't just skill. It was flair, persistence, luck. A lot of luck. Felt more like a casino, really.
Yeah.
Zero-sum game. Someone wins. Someone else has to lose.
So thinking about this whole world, the intense culture, the drive to innovate, often by slicing risk finer and finer, this find the fool mentality, Alexander, that contrarian trader, he believed his best moves were the unexpected ones.
The ones that went against the crowd.
Yeah, cutting against conventional wisdom. So here's a thought to leave you with. How does that idea sit with you now? This notion that maybe the best decisions, the real insights, lie in the unexpected, in challenging the seemingly predictable path, especially in a world that feels, I don't know, both hyper-analyzed and yet incredibly risky in totally unforeseen ways.